A proper TFL mashup.
That's right.
We have two extraordinarily capable cars, but they are very different in many ways, so that's why we're mashing them up, of course.
That's right, because, I mean, they're different prices, they're different types of vehicles, they have different engines, but at the same time, they are fun as hell to drive.
And they kind of match my personality and your personality.
Yeah, big loud V8 cantankerous and his little... Small, high-powered European, yeah, about the same.
And that's coming up next on the Fast Lane Car. I'm driving the brand new BMW M235i, which is a replacement for the 1 Series. So this is now the new small BMW in town. And I will say it right here, right now. This is by far my favorite BMW. Why? Because it contains the BMW soul, the BMW DNA. In other words, this is what a BMW should be. Light, well, relatively light, 3,500 pounds, rear-wheel drive, and crazy fast.
This is basically the same car that it was last year and the year before, but there are a couple new things. The rear little spoiler back here is carbon fiber, and they have a whole new headlight design, which is LED and somewhat more modern, but you're basically looking at a second generation IS with the F trim, which is cool because you get these amazing looking 19-inch wheels. They're staggered, so they're wider in the rear than they are in the front, and you're getting this fake vent over here, which I wish to God wasn't fake, but it does look very cool.
Listen to that. Oh yeah. You know, every time it shifts, the little traction control light turns on.
Just enough to get those wheels to break loose, just a tiny.
That's why I love this car. You know, there'll probably be an M2, but this is just the right amount of power, because any more power, you're going to overwhelm the chassis. Sure, a lot of power is great, but this car is balanced, Nathan. It is sublime the way it steers. Not only can you tell what the wheels are doing, it almost telegraphs every bend in the road to you, so you become one with machine. You know, they say BMW, right? The ultimate driving machine. Yeah. This is it. There you have it in profile. Yeah, it's a little ungainly. The hood's too long, the back's too short, and there's not a lot of utility. I haven't even tried getting in the back, but who gives a rat's ass? This car is all about how it drives, and it drives spectacularly. There's road feel. It's not too big, it's not too heavy. You know, BMW has built so many different vehicles now for so many different segments. Yeah. And in a way, I think they've lost their soul. But this car has that. This is the soul of BMW right here. Best of all, you have that glorious, glorious turbocharged 6-cylinder 3-liter, which is not too much to upset the chassis, yet plenty to set your hair on fire. That's the line from Nathan.
You know, my favorite BMW is with this same engine, basically, but the Z4, right?
Yes.
And one of the things that both cars share is the fact that they're not overwhelmingly heavy. 3 Series is really heavy right now. It's still a great
It's
platform.
like a 5 Series.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, I remember the days when BMWs didn't really weigh much, and they would put a heavy engine in there and just beat the crap out of the car and it could take it. Nowadays, everything's usually so heavy and overwrought. This thing feels light and airy, and it's like it's on its tippy toes. You know what I mean?
You're exactly right. You know, and there's not a lot of electronics here. Yeah, of course, there's traction control, stability control, all that good stuff. But you can turn it off if you want with a push of a button. Plus, I'm not a big fan of automatic transmissions, but listen to this. It's like a sport bike. It's just right to red line and then
red line.
Over red line, and then right to 5,500 RPM and back to red line. I mean, it's just like rips, shifts.
Whoa, I like that.
This is the Japanese muscle car.
That's exactly what it is. And okay, I know, you know, there are plenty of other cars that are faster that Japan builds, but this one has a lot of soul. And if you think about that, actually having a real soul and being a Japanese car and having a V8, very rare. You know what I absolutely love about this engine from the ISF? This sort of represents where Lexus is going to be going with the new RC. I cannot wait to get my hands on that car. But this particular vehicle, 5-liter V8, puts out 416 horsepower, 371 pound-feet of torque, fed through a 8-speed automatic, that's right, to the rear wheels. And unfortunately, they don't have a 6-speed manual, which I wish to God they would have.
Yeah, and best of all, 4 doors and child seat back there. Check it out, man. Yep. You could put your family in this. Your wife will be very happy. She won't necessarily, you know, call you immature for getting something that's
loud and obnoxious and brutish and
a play toy.
Yeah, it's a play toy. It really is. This is the second fastest car in all of Lexus's fleet, and now that the LFA is no longer made, it's actually the fastest. Pretty impressive. And you know what? This is an interesting V8 because it's like old school throaty and at the same time super high tech.
Under the hood of this new 2 Series is what is becoming the ubiquitous 3-liter turbocharged BMW engine. And it's a beautiful engine. It's paired to an 8-speed automatic. You can get it in a 6-speed manual. But you know what? This car actually might get me to want an automatic. It rips shifts that quickly. 320 horsepower and 330 pound-foot of torque.
One of the nice things about having a Lexus V8,
Right. Now this is a proper engine. Look, M Performance. Let's just swap it out. I'll give you the real German engine and I'll take this fake carbon fiber plastic Yaris engine out of here. Now you got some real muscle.
Really? Now I've tried a couple 0 to 60 runs with this car, and so far, I know when I was at sea level, I was able to get around 4.9 seconds, and I've been averaging about a second slower at a mile above sea level. That's 5.99 if you couldn't see that. Now, I've been playing around with a couple different things. Of course, I'm leaving it in sport, but turning the traction control on, turning it off, goosing it, giving it, torquing it before I take off, not torquing it. So I've done a few different things, and I really can't seem to find the secret sauce to make this just a hair faster. I was hoping for mid 5-second run. Once again, we're at high altitude. Air density is different up here, and as such, combustion works at a totally different rate. So you lose power when you go up high. Cool thing about that is, because we do that, because TFL is just badass like that, and we come up here and we do that, well, that means that if you do really well at high altitude with a car, that means it's going to kick ass at lower altitudes. So that's a positive. All right, here, I'm going to try it again this time. Traction control off. I'm going to hold it down for 5 seconds to shut everything off. There we go. Yeah, okay, it's off. Okay, sport mode. Here we go. This time I'm going to goose it, get a little bit okay, I burned out a lot. Yeah, that didn't work so good. Although I left a huge number 11 on the street. 7.8 seconds. So, as cool as drifting and burning out and all those things look, they always seem to cost you time. Ready? So I was in sport mode. Well, look at that. So just sport mode, no torquing, 5.85. So that is the fastest time today.
Inside, it's classic BMW. Yeah, it's tight, but it fits like a glove. You know, I could talk about the hardness of the plastics, all that blah, 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 this fake wood or real wood, who cares? What really matters on this car are two buttons. Number one, this little button here, which lets you put it to Sport or Sport Plus, which deactivates all of the electronic nannies. And number two, and my favorite feature of this car, this beautiful, thick, oh my God, okay, I shouldn't do that, steering wheel. It is precise, it is fabulous, and oh, all right, I gotta stop that. It's just getting a little too emotional in here. All right, here we go. Nathan has more power, but I have less weight, and of course a turbocharger, which is great up here at altitude. So I'm gonna put it in sport mode, sport, and I'm just gonna give it a little bit of juice and floor it. Here we go. 5.61. That didn't take a lot of work, did it? And I didn't even actually try very hard. You know, you gotta love this 3-liter engine. It is probably one of the best automotive engines that you can buy right now. And I'm suspecting that this car should even be faster than that. So let's try it one more time, because BMW says this is in the 4s, in the low 4s, and usually we're about a second off. And that certainly was more than a second off at 5.61. You know what? This time I'm just going to floor it. I think just flooring it's a better way to do it. Here we go. Yes! Yes! 5.5 seconds. 5.15. So, now we know why the drag race turned out the way that it did. The BMW is indeed faster from 0 to 60 than the Lexus. At sea level, that might be a different story, but up here at a mile above sea level, turbos rule! And so do BMWs with them.
But I can't help it, sorry folks. It's still a little firm, and when you're going over potholes, you can really feel it. The interior is louder than any other interior I've ever been in with a Lexus, and that's including the CT200H. So you definitely hear road noise and wind noise around the mirrors. And, you know, let's face it, these seats, they're great, but they are kind of on the tight side. I mean, some guy who would be bigger than me, I think it would be uncomfortable.
You know, the BMW is all that as well, but it's a sports car. I mean, just you know, grow a pair. Sorry.
Yeah, I know, seriously. Yep. Well, sorry guys, gotta go around this corner. Oh. What you're looking at internally and externally is a second generation Lexus IS, which is, well, frankly, one generation away from all the new stuff. And you can really see it on the inside, because despite the fact that it's well laid out and the materials are high quality, they're older materials and it's an older layout. Even the IP and everything on the instrumentation, well, it's old stuff. But see, whereas in your car was like on its toes and like you could feel it was almost electrified and ready to jump around, this thing is planted and it's clawing into the ground, and it feels like it's very wide when it's going around corners. It has a very thick feel to it.
Yeah, it's a muscle car, dude.
It is. It really is the closest thing you can get to a four-door muscle car built in Japan. But the bottom line is, this is the last, very last generation of the ISF, and I already miss it. Kind of weird, huh?
Nathan, on the TFL scale of buy it, lease it, rent it, or forget it, what do you give the Lexus?
I love this Lexus, but I'm going to have to give it a lease it for two reasons. Mainly because, well, it's an old vehicle and it doesn't have a manual transmission. If it did, I would buy it. I'd sell my kids and buy it. But I say lease it.
Buy it, buy it, buy it. This is the BMW to get. Forget the SUVs, forget the expensive big-ass Beamers, get this one. And there's one more reason to buy it. How many badges do you have on yours?
15.
15 F badges?
Yeah.
I have 16.
Eins mir.
As always, this is Roman
and Nathan
saying thanks for watching, and see you next time, and go to
TFLcar.com for news, views, and reviews.
Ciao.
Mashup!
Nathan, what do you think would be more fun than driving a BMW on the Autobahn?
Driving a Tatra.
Yes, that's right. We need your help. We're still trying to raise money for our Tatra Prague to Pebble Beach. We want to drive it across Germany onto a boat and across America to Pebble Beach. Does that blow your mind?
Yeah, it's gonna blow a couple other things too.
If you want to see us stranded by the side of the Autobahn, go to tflcar.com, and in the nav bar it says Prague to Pebble Beach. Click there and help us fund this project.
Please, folks, this is for you too, because you never know, you might be able to be featured in the videos.